In the previous lecture, we talked about the reasons for using CEFR in Vietnam. Now let's move on to the approaches of the CEFR. Does CEFR adopt a new approach?
We used to have grammar translation approach. I think teachers are quite familiar with this. But CEFR moved away from grammar translation approach. Instead, it adopts communicative approach and action-oriented approach.
Does that mean we should use a lot of communication activities in our teaching?
Yes, that's right. The communicative approach means that successful language learning comes from meaningful communication in a variety of real-life contexts. And it supports Vietnam's policy priority of language use over learning language to pass tests.
So why should we learn about CEFR? Are there any benefits for teachers and learners?
Of course there are. People agree that CEFR brings many significant benefits. Let me give you some examples. It can be used with almost any language and can be used to compare achievement and learning across languages. It also helps teachers and coursebook writers to decide on curriculum and syllabus content and to choose appropriate coursebook, for example.
Oh, so if my students need to be at A2 level, I should choose an A2 coursebook or adapt my materials to suit their level.
Exactly. One more benefit. The can-do statements in CEFR have all learners, even those at the lowest levels, see that learning has value and that they can achieve language goals.
Now I understand the benefits, but CEFR document is so long, a lot of things to read.
Sure, but you don't have to read the full document. You just need to remember 4 key messages. First, because CEFR was developed to fit European context, so if you want to use it, you should adapt the CEFR to fit the context. Second, focus on the outcomes of learning.
Outcomes? Does it mean learning results?
Yes, but not just results like Mark 8 or 9. It is what you can do with the language. For example, writing a postcard or asking for directions. So as learners, when you look at the descriptors, you see what you can do and what you should be able to do to monitor your learning. As teachers, the can-do statements can be used as objectives of your teaching.
So these descriptors will guide teachers and learners on their learning track.
That's right. Now, message number 3, focus on meaningful communication. Do you remember the previous lecture when we discussed the approaches of CEFR?
Communicative and action-oriented?
You got it. Since CEFR adopts communicative and action-oriented approaches, all the learning tasks and activities should involve meaningful communication.
That means when we teach our students, we don't just help them to score high in the test. We need to help them to be able to communicate using English.
That's right. The last key message, number 4, focus on the development of good language learning skills. It is important to remember that the skill is written in positive can-do statements to describe what a language learner can do, not what he or she cannot do.
So rather than pointing out what learners cannot do, teachers should keep learners motivated about what they can already achieve.
I can't agree with you more.
So in this mini lecture, we just looked at the overview of the CEFR in terms of the context, approaches, benefits, and implications for teaching. We also saw how it is part of Vietnam's language education policies. Throughout the rest of the course, we'll explore the details about CEFR and practical ways to use it to guide your teaching. We'll unpack it and make it more understandable and usable. So stay with us and move your teaching toward more focused, CEFR-based lesson planning and assessment.